Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror.
So today we're doing things just a little bit differently, guys. We are going to review Coco from 2017. It is a Disney movie.
Yes, we've gotten the emails. Yes, I've gotten your messages. It is not a horror movie. But guys, this is horror adjacent. It takes place on Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. It's got dead all over it. This is gateway for a lot of young kids to help guide them into horror. So,
plus, we just really love this movie. And
we really love this movie. And Happy Day of the Dead. If you celebrate, we have our ofrenda right back here. Our loved ones, our candles. We need to put some of their belongings up there, as well as some of the foods they loved. So that way when we do come to Day of the Dead, they will come and visit and have a good supper again. So today, guys, we are going to talk about the positives, the negatives, and we are going to spoil Coco.
So let's get into the positives. All right, our positives of Coco. It's funny. There's so many times that you just belly laugh with things that, the grandma says or Miguel or just, the family in general. Like, you can tell that they are like an actual loving family, and it's really funny.
And this movie is absolutely beautiful. The color schemes, everything about it, from the dead world, when they go into the land of the dead, and then being back here, all the beautiful scenery they have works so well for this film.
And the soundtrack is just perfect. Obviously, it's a Disney movie, and they always do so great on their scores and their soundtracks, and this isn't any different.
It's genuinely my favorite soundtrack that Disney's ever had, ever. And this movie's sad. Guys, when I tell you the first time I watched this, I cried through the whole third act. That's not a joke. I cried throughout the whole third act of this film.
He really did. And, it is sad. You definitely feel... we'll get more into...
Yeah, we'll get into it in the spoilers.
The feeling part of it in the spoilers. But the characters are amazing from top to bottom, from the living to the dead. Literally, they're all great, and they all have their own reasoning, and it really just helps,
when things get heavy, there's a reason for it. Everybody has the reasons for them doing what they do. And obviously, Sledgehammer Horror, if you guys know us, we're huge on family and the importance of family. And this movie is all about family. Positives, negatives, everything that come along with being a family and trying to go off on your own while still trying to make your family proud. So without spoiling things, those are some of our positives. Now let's get into some of our negatives of Coco.
All right, so we're really reaching here.
We've said this a couple times, but this time we really mean it.
Literally,
we are really reaching for negatives on this one.
Obviously, we would love to see more horror, but again, it's horror adjacent. It's for children, so it could be more horror. They could have absolutely done that, but I understand why. And
it's a little heavy on the exposition at times. Again, this is a kid's movie, and we're looking at it through... Obviously, the kids are going to need a little bit more explanation and a little, But, watching it as adults, we still have to be critical on some things, and that's it. Those are the only two freaking things we could come up that were negative about the film. This is genuinely my favorite Disney Pixar film ever. So to be able to weasel our way into talking about this for this episode meant so damn much to both of us. But if you haven't seen it, what the hell are you thinking? Go and watch it now, and then come back and watch our spoilers.
Okay, guys, so now we're going to start spoiling things. So Miguel's great-great-grandpa left to be a musician, and he never came back to his family. So they all became shoemakers, and they banned music. Yes. No one, you don't leave your family. And he did that for music, so now music is gone. And
what's a life without music?
Yeah.
Man. But Miguel, he loves music. He's a secret musician. He hides out. He plays music. And he genuinely has music in him.
Yeah. So one of the big musicians,
the biggest stars,
is Ernesto de la Cruz, and he is Miguel's inspiration. He wants to be just like him, but obviously his family is not behind that.
And De La Cruz in life was killed by a giant bell, like a church bell, that fell on him.
I wonder if that'll come back.
I wonder if that'll come back later on in the film.
So they, like us, they put their pictures of their ancestors on their ofrenda, and this is for when the family comes back. They can
for visit on the Day of the Dead.
Yeah, they can visit on that day.
Like I said, we do an ofrenda every year. We've started it once we get closer to the Day of the Dead. We obviously didn't record this on Day of the Dead. We'll put up some flowers, some food, some of their belongings.
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, we'll put some Dr. Pepper up there for Grandma Wendy Bird. It's for my mom. So Miguel, he made his own guitar, and like I said, he has a shrine to De La Cruz with his records and TV shows and movies about him. And he sits up in the attic and he learns to play the guitar by watching De La Cruz in the movies and the TV shows that he was in. And I think that's really funny because that's how I learned how to play a lot of guitar. I had a great teacher, but I also did a lot of that too. So it's amazing to watch and see that.
Yeah, so Miguel, he actually breaks one of the picture frames on the ofrenda, and it unfolds, and you see that this guitar that De La Cruz had was actually in the picture. So that De La Cruz is his great-grandpa.
So that's why music is so entwined in his body, because De La Cruz was not only his inspiration, it's his great-great-grandpa. Well, Grandma breaks his guitar. She finds the guitar, she breaks it, and he just runs away. He's devastated at this point.
Yeah, she's already yelled at him throughout the whole first act about even talking about music, so he's just done. And he wants to be a part of the talent show, so he goes into the mausoleum, and De La Cruz's guitar's in there. He breaks in and he strums the guitar, and this is when he actually crosses over, and he's walking with the dead. So
see, and this is another negative we don't want to talk about in the spoilers for somebody that didn't, but why is playing a guitar take him to the land of the dead? We never get any justification or any reasoning for that. But again, we couldn't talk about that in the negatives because we didn't want to do it. If you guys hadn't seen it, we didn't want to spoil that part for you. Okay, guys, what we should have said here is it doesn't give enough of a reason. All we get is you stole from the dead instead of giving to the dead. That's really all we get. And I wish they would have went deeper into it is what we were trying to say here. So I apologize. I wish we would have said it correctly, but we worded it very wrong. So the reason that he goes to the land of the dead is because he stole from the dead rather than giving to the dead. And here's the thing. If you're not up on an ofrenda, you cannot cross over on Day of the Dead.
Which this comes into play a little bit later. We'll talk about it, and it's very heartbraking.
Yes. So the only way that you can cross back over to come and see your family is you have to be remembered.
Your family.
And you have to be memorialized on the ofrenda in order to make that crossover back.
So if Miguel doesn't cross back over in time, by the time the sun rises, he will be stuck there in the land of the dead forever. So
Miguel's about to go back, and his great-great-grandma tells him, I'm going to give you my blessings. That's the only way you can come back, is if you have a blessing from someone on that side. But you have to go right home, and you can never play music again. And Miguel obviously agrees. He's like, okay, whatever. But the minute he comes back, he plays the guitar, and he comes right back, and they're like, you were gone for like 8 seconds. You broke the deal that quick. Another funny part.
And his great grandma that you're talking about is the one that
De La Cruz left.
Yeah, well, that's the picture that they broke. So she is no longer on the ofrenda either.
And so she's not on the ofrenda, so she can't cross over. Right. De La Cruz isn't on there. And in the picture is Grandma Coco. And that's a big part of this. Grandma Coco, she's
still alive but very old.
And she's losing everything.
Yes, she can't remember
It's hard for her to remember stuff.
But when she did see the guitar, she said, Papa.
Papa?
Yeah.
Papa? So she does remember her dad, and that's something, again, that will come very much into play later and break me to pieces and make me cry like a baby.
Yeah, so Miguel doesn't want her blessing, so he's going to find De La Cruz.
Yep.
And on his way there, he meets this guy named Hector.
Love Hector.
Hector's great, and he is telling him about the picture, and he's like, I'll help you as long as you put the picture of me on an ofrenda, because he can't cross over. He's been trying. He's been
every year he goes to get scanned, because that's how they do it. It's like the DMV.
They scan you, and then if you pop up, you
can
get
cross,
to cross
'cause
over.
you're on an ofrenda.
But he keeps getting an X. He even tried to like
Dress up as
other people, and he can't cross over. So he says, "I'll help you find your grandpa, but when you get back, you have to put my picture on the ofrenda."
Mm-hmm. So they go to get a guitar for Hector, and they go to this guy, and the guy asks him to sing him his favorite song, which
This
is
part
so
fucking sad.
It is, but this part's funny because he starts singing it, and he's like, they went down to her knees, and he's like, those aren't the words. He's like, there's kids present. So it's one of those moments where it's still kid friendly, but a very adult humor. So when you can't be remembered, because this guy, he goes to play the guitar, and he starts to fade away when Hector's playing the guitar for him. And he tells him, once nobody remembers you, you go to your final death. You leave even the land of the dead, and you're just gone. You're just nothing anymore. And that's what Hector's afraid of. Without being on an ofrenda, there's still someone out there that remembers him, obviously, because he hasn't crossed over.
Right.
But without him being on an ofrenda, he can't cross back over and just come to the land of the living to see his family again.
So Miguel, he like starts to fade also, like become more of a skeleton, and it looks really cool the way like you see his skin sort of, but like you see the skeleton like underneath of him.
And it starts to move up. And what I think is genius about this, they never bring, like at first you see the finger.
Yeah.
And then as the movie goes, like it's all his fingers, then his hand, then his arm. And they never bring attention to it. But it reminds me of American Werewolf in London.
How
every
he
time we
decays more and more.
Every time we
more.
see Jack, he's more and more decayed. Every time we're going back to Miguel, he's decaying more and more, but they don't put the spotlight on it. It's just brilliant that they're doing it and letting it be seen just a little tiny bit. Ernesto and Miguel finally meet, De La Cruz and Miguel, and they get really close, and Ernesto's like, I have a great-great-grandchild.
Yeah, and he's like super excited to see him. Yeah.
Well, he did a talent show. And he wanted to do Remember Me.
Yeah.
And Hector was like, don't do that.
Everybody's doing that.
And then so he did another song, and it like won everybody over. So that's how he was able to sneak into De La Cruz's party to be able to meet him and tell him like, hey, I'm your great grandkid.
Yeah. So we find out that De La Cruz is a big fucking stealer. He's an a-hole. He actually stole songs from Hector. Like him and Hector were friends. And he stole songs for him, and he poisoned the guy. He could become famous with his songs, and Hector couldn't pull him back.
Well, the reason why is because Hector wanted to go home. He was like, I'm done. And De La Cruz is like, we're so close to our dream. And he's like, your dream.
Yeah.
Or not so. Not my dream. I want to go home with my family. That's my dream. And when he went to leave, he poisoned him the same way that he poisoned somebody in a movie. And when he poisoned him, he ended up, getting stomach pains really bad, and it ended up killing him. So now, De La Cruz, now that Hector knows the truth, he has him thrown into like this big, like bottomless. It's not bottomless, but like this big like crater.
It's like a pit with like water dripping and
So, and he also has Miguel thrown in there because he's like,
now he knows.
you can't go back to the land of the living.
Even though it's his own grandkid, he's still like, fame is everything and family is nothing to De La Cruz.
And it's even like with De La Cruz, it's so much fame that even here in the land of the dead, he's the biggest star in the world, and he doesn't want that to go. He had it in life, now he has it in death, and he still won't let it go to give Hector what he deserves, the recognition for all the songs.
So we actually find out that Hector is Miguel's great-great-grandpa, and Hector loves his daughter Coco. He actually wrote Remember Me for her. So when he was off on tour, she would, remember him.
And he used to sing it with her every night.
Yeah, and it's very like heartbreaking to think about.
Well, because he's been talking about how he just wants to get home to his daughter.
Yeah.
And at this party, he's like, my Coco.
And he was trying to, he left to go on tour, but he was like, I miss my daughter, I miss my family, and he wanted to leave and go back to him, and that's when he got poisoned and he died, and then his the family just wrote him off, he left us, he never came back for us, and so then they're like, music is, pretty much saying that music is the reason that he left his family, and it's the evil thing.
Well, his family's been chasing Miguel. That's another side plot. They've been chasing him because they want him to get back to the land of the living, but they want him to do it without music. So they finally say, we're going to give you our blessing, but we got to get Hector's picture back from De La Cruz, because De La Cruz took his picture and put it in his pocket, so that way he couldn't be on an ofrenda. Because Hector now is getting all these somebody's he's being forgotten.
Because like we talked about, Coco is very old now, and even though she still remembers her papa, she is obviously losing
his memory, and she's about to pass away as well.
So they end up turning out he's having like a concert, and they're trying to get the picture back, like you said.
They get in a big fight and they end up going backstage where no one can hear them.
And so they end up turning on the microphone backstage, and they hear what De La Cruz says about how he truly is a monster, and they hear everybody that's there at the concert, they hear it, and
how he killed Hector, how he's not gonna stop, and how
the songs were actually Hector's, and he pretty much like, no one's gonna believe you. Who's gonna believe you? I'm De La Cruz, Right. So and he like throws Miguel over
a cliff this time.
And Miguel drops the picture of Hector, and we also didn't talk about, but he has that dog that, what do they call them in there? The animals?
It's like the spirit guide.
His spirit guide is this jinkety little street dog, but he turns all different colors, and he
becomes a spirit guide in this moment. It's beautiful. So Miguel is sent back right in time. He takes the guitar and runs to Mama Coco and sings "Remember Me" to her, and this part is so beautiful.
Remember me, though I have to travel far.
Again, I cry at this part every single time. And she's like, "Papa," and she ends up taking the picture of him out of her wardrobe.
Yeah.
And it's the picture that his head was ripped off, and they put it up on the ofrenda.
Because she obviously secretly still missed her dad, and
obviously, it's her father.
Even though Mom was so upset that he left her and his daughter.
One of the beautiful parts of this is the great-great-grandma and Hector finally make up in the afterlife, and he's telling her, because she's there too when De La Cruz is like, "I killed him," and he's like, I tried to come back to you. Like, I didn't want to be away from you. I didn't want to be away from Coco. You guys were everything. And she calls him the love of her life, and he's like, "Did you call me the love of your life?" She's like, "I don't know what I said."
She's confused. It's all so confusing.
And I think another reason this movie's so special to me is every female character in this movie reminds me of my grandma Tilly.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another reason why this movie hit so close to home. I really feel like there's a lot of my life in this movie and watching these characters and how I grew up. So there's a lot of that really hits close to home for me.
So the next year on
Dias de Muertos.
Yes. Everyone is trying, obviously, to forget De La Cruz.
Yeah, they're taking all his pictures down. And
now Hector is the real town hero. And Mama Coco is she is there with them now, because she obviously passed away in that year. And now she's with her mama and her dad, which is amazing. And they're on the ofrenda, and they all cross over, even Hector, and they're there in the afterlife, and they're singing, and they're and
on
playing
Day of the
guitar.
Dead they come back, and it shows them on Earth, and they're all
they're having their big feast, and they're all just having like this,
the perfect time.
It just looks so amazing, and it's like this warm feeling.
And I think that the big thing about this movie, like I said, the importance of family. Because at one part, when Miguel's trying to cross back over, he's like, "I won't play music, I promise. I just want to be with family." Like, he's finally realized that,
music isn't everything, but also it is a big part of your life. But it's not more important than your
This is
family.
when great-great-grandma's like, she gives him the blessing and says, "And to play as much music as you can."
Yeah.
Because she realizes now that music isn't what's evil. People are evil. And music saved the day for her at the end too, when she was singing with De La Cruz, and
she was also she
was an amazing musician.
She would sing, while Hector was playing the guitar and stuff like that when they were together. So she loved to sing.
So I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
This is going to be the second movie ever for Sledgehammer.
I feel like you can't give it anything less than a 5 out of 5. It's something you can watch with your family. It's such a huge family movie, and it's beautifully made. The colors, and it's great. It has emotion in it.
And at the time of recording, we are anticipating Coco 2. It has been revealed that we're getting a Coco 2.
We're excited about it.
We are excited, but I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Because this was the, again, perfect one-off movie. This was the perfect, and like I said, Disney, Pixar, and I'm talking about even from when I was a kid when it was just Disney, nothing has ever come close to Coco for me. Nothing's ever made me feel, not for her, this is me speaking here. Nothing's ever made me feel, the sadness, the happiness, the warmth, the nostalgia, the pride, that the way Coco made me feel for, growing up the way I did, you know, I grew up in a Hispanic family, you know, my uncle, and what that culture meant to him and what it meant to my grandpa and my grandma. And I have a sense of pride watching this movie and thinking about those. I mean, like I said, every year we do an ofrenda still in honor of the dead, and that way they can come home and hang out with us for a little bit. Even if we can't see them, we know they're here. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I agree.
So let us know down in the comments, guys, what did you think of Coco? Are you excited for Coco 2? And what direction are you hoping they take in that film? I want to say one more time, I think this is gateway horror. And at the end of the day, this is our channel. And so we decided to do it. Not trying to be an ass or anything.
I mean, I did a review on Hocus Pocus, and I feel like that's my favorite, Disney movie of all time. And that's also gateway horror in my mind.
So hopefully we change your mind on that too. Hopefully you can go into this looking at it through the Day of the Dead and how important this is to us as human beings. So like I said, let us know in the comments what you guys think. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Those links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.